How's it going? So, I'm going to create a channel. We're going to give this thing a shot. And I'm a broken man. I have been going through some really, really hard times. I'm not playing the victim here. I deserve every aspect of everything I'm going through. I created this mess. But the reality is, I am in a mess. And I have lost a lot of friends. I have lost a lot of family. And I am a hurting person. And so I kind of thought I would share a channel that could be kind of partially confessions, partially lessons I've learned. Hopefully uplifting channel, not here to complain and gripe and feel sorry for myself. And oh my gosh, I'm not looking for that. So the question I want to ask you is, when was the last time you felt unconditional love? I'll repeat that. When was the last time you felt unconditional love? Not, I love you because you're so pretty, you're so smart, you're so fun, but I just found out the most painful thing you could possibly do to me, and I still love you. I still care about you. I'll still give you a hug. I'll still tell you I appreciate you, even though you just hurt me, even though I'm feeling more pain than I felt before. That kind of love. When was the last time you felt that? So my story, I'm not going to get into all of it, not in this video, but is that I've kind of caused a lot of pain to a lot of people. It's affected my marriage to the point where there's a separation going on and a potential divorce, and I have no one to blame but myself. I'm the one that created it all. I have my own family who's disowned me practically. They don't want to talk to me on the phone. They don't want to see me. They'll do family events, and I'm not invited to them. My friend circle, I have chosen that type of friend circle, the type of people who will not support the decisions that I've made. And so when I've made them, they have been hurt and they have, in general, left me. My church, they would let me enter it, but it would be a super awkward time going into that church. And so I find myself in this position where I don't really have friends. My family doesn't really talk to me. And yet, out of all of that, I still have one friend who I hurt just as much as everybody else, who still checks in on me, who still cares about me, who still reaches out to me, and who still genuinely tries to understand. Now, I'm not trying to pretend that I want somebody that's going to toot my horn and be like, oh, Brandon, you're such an amazing person. Yeah. No, we don't want that. That's not what a true friend is. A true friend is someone that cares about you even when you're down, right? We all care about that person who's popular, and it's so easy to support that person who's popular or rich or famous or whatever else. But what's really hard, what makes a real good friend, is when that person who's getting mocked or ridiculed or isn't popular, and you're still going out of your way to say, hey, buddy, I appreciate you. I see you. Hey, girl, you're smart. You're strong. I'm seeing you. I'm watching you. I care about you. How are you doing? That's a friend. I haven't felt that very much in my life. I didn't realize how little I had felt that in my life. And I take full responsibility. That's the friend circle I've chosen. We can't choose our family, but it's also the lifestyle I've created. I don't even blame my family for being that way. I've been a fraud. I've been a fake. I've been pathetic. I've been a coward my whole life. I didn't want them to know the truth about me. I didn't want them to know what I could be thinking, what I've done, what I would do, what I haven't done, how I'm pretending so that way everybody thinks I'm okay, or that way I blend in. So of course, they like me for who I'm not. That's not their fault. That's my fault. I had a friend once who got married to someone his family didn't support, and his whole family left him. Like, didn't talk to him, wouldn't support him. He had multiple kids. His family hasn't even seen the kids that he's had. And I always patted myself on the back, which is a huge issue of mine, is that I'm an egotistical prick. And I always felt I was so amazing because I didn't disown him. I still would talk to him every now and then. If I ran into him, it was never awkward. I would just be like, oh, how are you doing? But I would look back in hindsight and I go, I wasn't a good friend to him. A friend would have reached out and said, hey, bro, this has got to be some hard times you're going through. Your whole family is disowning you. I don't even think I would have agreed with his decision to marry the gal, but that doesn't mean I need to disown him. I can still love him. I can still tell him, hey, I appreciate you. Think you're a smart dude overall. Care about you. I could have said all those things. I never did that once. Never once. Now I'm going through my own fiasco, and I'm realizing how rare it is to have that friend. I was at church a couple Sundays ago when it was Mother's Day. This is all the stuff that's going on, is real recent, and I was very emotional. I was thinking about how I don't have a super tight relationship with my mom, but how I would have loved to give her a hug and just tell her, Mom, I appreciate you, and I care about you. I give you the credit, and I even sent her this text in general. I said, I give you the credit for the good, and I take responsibility for the bad. But I wanted to give her a hug. I wanted to love on her and just tell her I appreciate her. I wanted to do that and probably just walk away because I knew that she was hurting and that I'd hurt her and that she didn't really want me around her. She doesn't. She doesn't want me to call her, doesn't want to talk on the phone. If we text because of some necessity, it's as short as possible. And I'm in church crying, and I'm not a very emotional person. Just crying that I have a mom who doesn't even want me to give her a hug. And it hurt. It hurt bad. It hurts even talking about it right now. And I thought about how I've hurt her to the point where she feels that way about her own son. I'm her oldest. And I've hurt her to the point where she doesn't even want a hug from me right now. She doesn't even want to talk to me right now. And that's an intense amount of pain I've caused my mom, and I have to take full responsibility for that, and I do. But the flip side of that is the blessing of how loved we are by Jesus and by God. I'm not a spiritual person. In fact, I would argue one of my biggest weaknesses is my spiritual walk with God and with Jesus as a proclaiming Christian who's done many, many things that are not Christian and not here to preach to you and tell you how to live your life. You're sitting there crying in church, thinking about how your mom doesn't even want you to give you a hug or give her a hug. And then you think about how much pain I've caused her, and you translate that and you go, wow, she doesn't know half of the sins I've done. And most of the sins I've done have caused her almost no pain. But I've still caused her enough pain with the few sins that some of the sins that I have done, that she's to the point where she doesn't want to talk to me. How much more pain have we caused God from a spiritual side of things? If you're perfect and if you believe in Christ and you pursue the Christian walk, the whole philosophy is that we're serving someone who is perfect and without sin. So every sin, our one sin, if we've only done one sin, we are 100% worse than God. Like, we're just disgusting, despicable compared to him. But we all sin every single day. Most of us more often than that. I sure do. And so how much pain have we caused him? And yet he still loves us so much that he let his son die the most miserable death to forgive us of all that pain that we've caused him, just so we could have a chance to go to heaven, even though the majority of us will ignore it, deny him, reject him, laugh at him, mock him, ridicule him. That, my friends, is unconditional love. And I'm not pretending that we're going to ever get to that level of unconditional love. But my challenge to you, and my challenge to me, as I've been going through all of this, is to be more like that as a friend. To reach out to our friends who are hurting. Okay, they just got accused of stealing from somebody. Check in on them. The person that I have felt the most unconditional love with is a guy, not a girl. He's got a bunch of kids. He doesn't have time to talk to me. He doesn't have time to deal with all the stuff I'm dealing with right now. And yet he still chooses to give me a call every now and then, to check in. And more importantly, to ask questions to understand why I am the way I am, why I feel the way I feel, why I'm in the position, why I made the decision that I made. Doesn't say he agrees with me, but he genuinely cares enough to want to know. That to me is an unconditional friend. That to me is a person I want to make sure I am pleasing in a way as long as it fits my own morality or my compass. The people who disown me, it hurts. Oh, it hurts. I'm not denying that. But that doesn't make me want to listen to their perspective more. If all we're doing, if our position is so weak we have to peer pressure people into getting them to do what we want them to do, how weak is our position? But on the other hand, that person that's showing me unconditional love, that's genuinely checking in on how I'm doing, even though I've hurt him and I've hurt him tremendously, even though I'm taking time out of his very, very busy day as a very busy businessman, that's a person that I want to think twice or 3 times or 4 times about before I make a decision that could potentially hurt him more. And so my challenge to all of you, and I know for myself, it's to be a friend. A friend that we would want our friends to be to us. What would Jesus do? What would the best friend that you could ever dream of do for you when you're going through your hard times? We all think of how honest we are, how trustworthy we are. Can your friend truly come to you and tell you their deepest, darkest secret? And have you still love them? That type of friend. That's the type of friend I want to be for others. That's what I'm building this channel about, trying to become a better friend, a more honest person, a more credible person. To talk about my flaws, my strengths, my weaknesses, and what I'm growing towards, my lessons that I'm learning. Thank you guys for the conversation. Thank you for listening. Go out there and be the best friend you can possibly be. Cheers.